everyone. Welcome to HW News English. I am Shubham Chohan. We are coming to you live with a quick update on what's happening in West Asia, in Syria, to be specific. The rule of President Bashar al-Assad has come to an end. A 24-year rule of Bashar al-Assad has come to an end as rebels in Syria have taken control of the capital of Syria, that is Damascus. And you've seen visuals coming in from Syria early this morning, Indian Standard Time, that is, of rebel groups entering the capital of Damascus in what has been a seamless and a quick 10-day operation by the rebel group that has taken many by surprise. A lot of people have admitted that the swiftness of this operation has been quite something. So, and on last count, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has fled Syria. That is what is being reported by several media outlets. Now, even the rebel groups have confirmed that Damascus is free of tyrant Bashar al-Assad, as they have put it, and a 50-year rule of the al-Assad family has really come to an end after taking power in Syria in the 1970s following a coup. Bashar al-Assad's father ruled Syria for about 30 odd years before passing away in 2000, and then his heir apparent Bashar al-Assad took over as the president of Syria, and now the United Nations, as has put it, has called it a watershed moment in the history. So, what we've effectively done for this quick live session is to take you through what has just happened in really concise points to sort of help you understand what really is happening in Damascus, that is the capital of Syria. There you see. So, like I said at the beginning, Syrian rebels have said that they have ended the rule of Bashar al-Assad. 24-year authoritarian rule of Bashar al-Assad has been ended. The rebels entered capital Damascus, and they have full control over cities like Hama, Aleppo, and Homs. That has been happening over the last 10 days. And Reuters has reported that thousands have gathered in Damascus, waving and chanting freedom from 50 years of Assad's family rule. Like I said, it was Bashar al-Assad for the last 24 years, and before that, his father, who took over Syria, who came to power in Syria following a coup. Next, as to yes, the other update, senior Syrian army officers and the rebels have said that Bashar al-Assad has boarded a plane and fled Damascus, the capital of Syria, but there's no clarity on where he is heading to from Damascus. Prime Minister of Syria, Mohammed al-Jalali, said that he's ready to cooperate with any leadership chosen by the people. He put out a video on Facebook saying that he hasn't fled anywhere. It was a recorded message saying that he hasn't fled anywhere. He's very much there, and he said that he's willing to cooperate to ensure a smooth transition of power. Now, who are the Syrian rebels? Because there was a lot of chatter about, like I said, the swiftness of the operation and who really was behind it. So, if you just see, the Syrian rebels consists of different factions who have come together despite their differences, and their sole aim or their objective is to overthrow the regime of Bashar al-Assad. And Hayat Tahrir al-Sham is the most prominent group of them all, along with the Syrian National Army, National Liberation Front, and the Free Syrian Army. The HTS, which is the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, was formed under a different name in 2012. It had links with Al-Qaeda for a few years before splitting in about 2016-17. And then the HTS really came to be known as a different group. It was formed as a different group. But the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham has been categorized as a terror organization by the United States and other Western countries as far as the HTS. So they are really leading this pack of coalition against Bashar al-Assad, this coalition of rebels against Bashar al-Assad. Now, the next question, why is it happening now? Why what we are seeing right now play out in Syria, why is it happening now? It began in October when the UN Special Envoy to Syria said that HTS carried out a raid in government-held areas. And we'll come to the background in a bit to understand, because this is something that while, yes, the rebel operation, the rebel offensive has happened in the last 10 days, contrary to what many believed, with regards to speed, it's been in the making for almost a decade, going back as far as 2011. But in October, it was the UN Special Envoy who said that the HTS, which we just talked about, carried out a raid in government-held areas. In November, the HTS and its allies said that they launched an offensive to deter aggression, accusing the government, it's the Bashar al-Assad government, and allied Iran-backed militias of escalation in the northwest. Now, if you look at the regime of Bashar al-Assad in the context of the world, Russia and Iran were the two main backers of this regime. But what has happened now is that both Russia and Iran, Moscow and Tehran, are caught up with the conflicts with their respective wars in Ukraine and Israel, respectively. The Russia-Ukraine war, of course, has been going on since February 2022, and the Israel-Hamas war that began just last year. Now, because these two countries are said to have been occupied with that, it has left Bashar al-Assad exposed with really few backers to protect him. And now let's come to the background that will help us really put this in context. In 2011, there was a peaceful pro-democracy protesters, a demonstration where people took to the streets demanding the ouster of the authoritarian rule of Bashar al-Assad. They demanded the ouster of the Syrian president. And what followed was a brutal crackdown, killing and injuring thousands of people. And this is what really Bashar al-Assad triggered a fresh row between him and the opposition, and a divided opposition, of course, that followed. It was supported by neighboring countries like Turkey, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, which is the UAE, and the United States. So 2011, like I said, it goes far back as 2011, and it became really with Bashar al-Assad and Russia and Iran and the Hezbollah, the Lebanese-backed Hezbollah on one side, and the opposition supported by Turkey, UAE, US, and the others on the other. So, for helping Bashar al-Assad, Syrian Air Force got Russian warplanes. The Iran's Revolutionary Guard and Lebanese-backed Hezbollah were on ground to protect and help Bashar al-Assad in his fight against the rebels. And in 2020, 4 years back, Russia and Turkey agreed to a ceasefire in opposition-held province of Idlib, and both of these countries agreed to establish a security corridor with joint patrol. So, and it was after that, following a quick offensive in 10 days, that now the rule of Bashar al-Assad as the president of Syria has come to an end. And there are visuals all over social media hailing what has happened. People are out on the streets celebrating what they call freedom from the rule of an authoritarian leader. We have also global reactions coming in. White House said that US President Joe Biden was closely monitoring the extraordinary events in Syria. US President, importantly, Donald Trump has said that Syria is a mess. He tweeted, he said that Syria is a mess. It's not our friend, and that Washington should stay out of the conflict. That is what Donald Trump had said. Remember, Donald Trump will take office just next month. 20th of January is when the swearing in of Donald Trump as the next president of the United States will take place. And he is now sort of getting his team ready, and a lot of radical changes are expected on the foreign policy fronts with regards to how the US deals with Ukraine, how it deals with Israel, and now with Syria emerging as another conflict zone on the world map. Turkey has weighed in. Of course, a country led by Recep Tayyip Erdogan has weighed in, saying that there's a new reality in Syria, politically and diplomatically. And he also said that Syria belongs to all Syrians. And lastly, New Delhi too has urged all citizens, all Indian citizens in Syria, to leave at the earliest. Some reports suggest that South Bloc was really surprised, like I said, with the speed with which things unfolded in Syria, with the rebel group really now firmly in control. What happens next? What will the government, a new government of Syria, look like? That's something that we'll, of course, we keep tracking for you here on HW News English. The UN statement, like I just said, that the UN envoy has called it a watershed moment, and I will try and read out what the UN has said. And meanwhile, yes, Russia, Iran have shut all their embassies, consulates. All officials have been called back by Moscow and Tehran. So it's been a rapid sort of day of developments in West Asia, in Syria, and we will, of course, what the potential ramifications of this could be is something we'll try and over the course of the next few days we'll try and get some expert voices for you to help really put this conflict in Syria in perspective. But the latest being that the rebels in Syria have taken control in capital Damascus, and the Syrian president Bashar al-Assad has fled the country, bringing an end a 24-year rule a 24-year rule of Bashar al-Assad and about a 5-decade rule of the al-Assad family. So that's all we have for this live session. Thank you so much for joining in, and do subscribe to HW News English for more such updates.